What's going on, guys? It's your boy, the ITP Paladin 929. So, as I promised, I'm going to try and upload more content, and I think I have an opportunity right now while my daughter's watching Pilgrim's Progress for kids. So we'll get that out of the way. But this is something I just did a rant video like 2 seconds ago, and I'm just going to post that for the fun of it. But this is kind of to make up for the content that I wasn't able to put out when I was sick. This is the reason why I stopped. I got sick, and I felt like crap, and then I just couldn't recover because I had to pick up with my real life to actually keep things going. And then to top it all off, the holiday season wasn't necessarily the best. I forgot I had that there. So I had a situation of a financial burden where a friend kind of screwed me over by putting me into kind of a debt of sorts, and I'm still trying to work out that said debt. So I'll mention maybe in another video or whatnot if it comes up in question, but I've already talked about it so much, I'm done. So let's move on to the subject at hand. I don't have any visuals at the moment. Cool, my pop filter's on there. Cool, so we could actually see it. So, subject at hand. Again, I don't have any visuals. You can refer to my previous video. I might put that in my description anyway, but it's my previous one talking about Xbox purchasing the Activision Blizzard company along with King. First thing I will actually correct, I think I said Bob Chapek in my previous video. I realized, because I've been watching a lot of like the pop culture breakdowns with like Dictor Van Doomcock and all that. So they talk about Bob Chapek very often, and he was like the head of CEO of Disney or something. What I meant to say was Bobby Kopeck? Why do I not have my phone in my pocket? The point still being, like, there's a lot of memes going on with this, so I just wanted to correct that name real quick. I'm going to put that edited in my description for that video as well. So here's the thing, like, I was making a quick video so I got something out and I was able to like restart my uploading processes and see if I can get a little more attention for my streaming. By the way, I stream daily on Glimish. It's a much better environment than Twitch, and it's a lot better for small streamers like me, so go ahead and check that out. It's an alpha stage right now, but it is a great community with great people and definitely worth checking out, especially since they're listening to the fans and what their features they want implemented. So they're actually for the streamer by giving them the tools that they believe that they need and giving them as much freedom as possible to stream. So give that a check out. I'll put the link back in the description, and just go to my channel and you can get to the website from there. So let's get on to that subject, shall we? So Xbox, I woke up yesterday morning and saw like the big news from an article on Google talking about Xbox potentially, was the first initial article that I saw, potentially about to buy Activision Blizzard for a $68 billion deal. So I woke up, saw that on my news feed, and I'm like, what? I had to click on it, and then it says like the talks were happening, is the article was telling me at that point in time. Only for the next like 10 minutes later, this is actually hilarious, 10 minutes later, they said it's confirmed they're buying it for $70 billion. Like, they're rounding up, obviously. And it was like, that was fast. So let me be transparent here. Like, I'm going to remind everybody that I don't use scripts. I do not have a script anywhere here. I don't have anything on my computer screen. I like to do things freeform. I like to do them freeform because it's a little more authentic. It's a little bit more engaging, and quite honestly, it's more legit. Like, I feel like I'm more authentic and legitimate to you guys, giving you my honest opinions of what comes to mind. I used to work retail, so I know how to control the thought processes before they leave my mouth. You have to be careful or you lose your customers. So 7 years of retail will do that for you. Now, see, this is an example of it. So there was a lot of back and forth, mainly on Twitter. I won't go show that because there's a lot of stuff on Twitter anyway, like a cesspool, and for some of the people I follow, it's probably not appropriate for YouTube. But the thing here, it kind of grabs my attention when people are just starting to put out their opinions and stuff that's not really fact versus things that are fact. You have to be able to sift through that. So let's start with some of the pros and cons of this entire deal, just from my viewpoint, before we even get into the facts of things. So the cons to Xbox purchasing it, I personally believe to not be many, and it's been mentioned on social media, so I don't really want to overplay some of the things that you may or may not have already heard. But the company being brought out is not necessarily 100% guarantee that things are going to improve. We have Phil Spencer as the CEO of Xbox division. I believe he was the head of Xbox Gaming. So he's the guy who's kind of in charge of the direction that the studios take and the ones that, for the mother company. Supposedly, some of the cons that people are thinking are going to happen, because it's not a guarantee that this will improve, but people think that because now it's still an evil corporation, blah, 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 going off on those arguments, and I'm just going to bypass that because I don't want to get into that topic of this video. But some of the cons do include that if they do make some of these things exclusive, then obviously the studio might not make as much money. For instances, the properties like Call of Duty and I was going to say World of Warcraft. Not really World of Warcraft. That community won't die regardless because it's PC gaming. They cover PC. So mainly Call of Duty, Overwatch is kind of one of them. I'm trying to think of another one. I think Diablo, maybe? I know Diablo was on PlayStation at some points, if I recall correctly. I don't have, anything on my screen other than my recording. But I do know, with those gaming, you're going to probably alienate an audience by now being exclusive to a single console. Phil Spencer was put on record for saying that if they already exist cross-console, like in other words, if they're existing on PlayStation currently along with us, then we're going to continue supporting it because we don't want to alienate our audiences. We want to engage gamers. Like, we want to encourage gaming and gamers. So he's going to continue that. So immediately that con kind of gets, wiped off the face of the earth, but it's still kind of skeptical because it's like anything can change. Money changes these things. They purchased the studios, the appropriate studios for Activision, Blizzard, and so on, and now it's under the belt of Xbox. So the cons here, again, they're far and few, but people are still finding things to complain about. Honestly, I'd see more pros. I see way more pros. First and foremost, just talking about the astronomical budget that now they have because their mother company is Xbox. When they were independent studios, yes, I think this might be another con before I even continue to that pro, is that now that they're owned by a corporation, they have to go by corporation standards. So that means, like, if they're trying to, develop a game, if they're in the middle of development and all of a sudden Xbox is like, yeah, you need to get that out by the end of the month. We're still like 6 months out, and then they push out a piece of crap. So I can understand that would be a con too. Like, now that it's a head corporation, that might be a presenting issue. I don't know the specifics of the gaming industry and the development world as far as like the innermost details, but I do know general development, general information like anybody else. And I know that deadlines are always going to be an issue, but this is kind of pushing it now that the mother company is Xbox. If they do care about gaming like they say, hopefully this won't be an issue, but let's move on to the pro of that one, is now that they have a mother company like Microsoft, specifically and exclusively, not only do they have the monetary resources, but they have the development resources. I am a sincere believer that the Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PS5, if not by, like, a little bit much, by a decent amount. Like, yes, the PlayStation 5, I will give credit where credit's due, and it is a great console. I know it's a great console. It's obviously more powerful than most other consoles on the market, including Nintendo and all those other ones. Like, it's a powerful system. Yeah, I cannot take that away from it. But I am a firm believer that Xbox, at best, is at least a decent gap of an improvement over the PS5. And at worst, just a slight improvement. But the point still being is, like, they're both astronomical devices, and I won't take away from it. I just prefer Xbox. But Xbox doing this, like, they have the resources, they have the technology, they have the development teams, they have the drive to kind of encourage gaming. Like, if you do not follow Larry Herb on Twitter, that guy apparently runs off of, like, electric power. He must have a battery pack on his back to keep him going on the daily. This guy does not stop. And I kid you not, like, this guy keeps going and he's like the Energizer Bunny. All he really has to do is plug in and charge. Like he's just so into his job, and that's first off great to see, because it's again encouraging to see like Xbox actually going for the gamer and Larry Herd being like one of their legitimate faces. I believe the guy to be sincere and legitimate, so that's just me. But again, the point like being, I see the pros that they have better resources now, better development team, a better drive now that they have a company that wants them to get into gaming and succeed. So hopefully the pro goes, as we say, that they're going to develop the team and develop the games at a better pace, and with the resources, proper resources, manpower, so on and so forth, it's going to be a astronomically great time for development companies and great incentive to get into the industry right now if you're yourself a developer or a game maker or whatever not. Another pro that I'm noticing, and this is more in the favor of Xbox in general rather than the gamers, but one of the biggest things I don't think people realize is that Xbox has, like, I agree that it's not necessarily a monopoly because they didn't get every title and there is still competition. Like, just because they got like 3 name brand companies that are big on the market doesn't mean that they have all of it. So yes, they got Overwatch. Yes, they got StarCraft. Yes, they got Call of Duty. Yes, they got World of Warcraft. They got Candy Crush too, apparently. I didn't even know that that was part of Activision Blizzard. I keep burping. Excuse me. But the point is like, legitimately, they have these companies, and it doesn't mean they have a full monopoly. It just means that they now have a bigger advantage because the development studios are now making them more profit because they're under their wing. They're making an investment with these companies, and these companies need to follow through and make profit. So, with that being said, this is the pro that comes with Xbox getting them. Think about the largest games currently to market, and when you talk about overall like streaming, viewership, and all these other things. If you actually, in fact, you know what, I'll go on there right now and see if I could prove a point. It might not be peak hours for these games, so I could be wrong. Discover, here we go. Yeah, I don't care. Games, we're just gonna go into the game area. Okay, so right now, the biggest games with the viewership, one of them is League of Legends, so we can't really take that out of account. If I can find, not recommended games, just give me the browse. Here we go. This is categories actually. So where are you? Okay, so World of Warcraft is getting a pretty decent viewing. Now, it's not a fun game to watch, but it's a very big game to play. So I know for a fact that that's not obviously that big as comparison. I can see right now that the biggest, wow, just chatting. I think a lot of podcasts are getting more popular. League of Legends has one of the biggest viewerships right now at over 200,000 current right now. I know for a fact, where are you? Grand Theft Auto 5 is Rockstar Studios, so that's another big one right there. That's without a doubt. Fortnite is over 149K. I'm trying to find, what is nobody? What, did they remove it from the Call of Duty in general? Now, we can count every Call of Duty and, like, if we're playing campaign or whatnot. So, right now, they're at 70K viewers, which is one of the big ones. Yeah, I don't think this is peak time, because it's also mixing up the games very weirdly. But think about the 3 biggest titles across the 3 platforms that exist in, like, their respective, like, types. You have computer gaming, PC gaming, you have console gaming, and then you have mobile gaming. Those are the 3 kind of trifecta, if you will, platforms of choice: console, PC, or mobile. They have World of Warcraft, which, despite the viewership of streaming, is a very big market for the PC community in general. StarCraft, World of Warcraft, those games are current to date still being supported. There are people going to jail, I kid you not, for cheating the economic system inside that game in Korea. People are facing, like, jail time, legitimately. This game still has life in it, and now Xbox is getting a cut of that profit. They're going to get their investment back on that game, and it's one of the biggest. And if it's not World of Warcraft, it's StarCraft, which is also a big title. Probably not as big as World of Warcraft, but I don't know because I don't follow them. Then going to the console area, Forget Overwatch. I love Overwatch personally, but I know that it's not a very popular game as of late. But think about this one for 2 seconds. What is one of the biggest console games in the entirety of the world? And I'm not talking like Counter-Strike or anything of that sort, so that's obviously PC gaming, and that's another thing, like Counter-Strike, oh my god. That's another one I didn't even see there, and I didn't check the viewership. Call of Duty, just as far as the player base goes, and probably the biggest money maker on consoles itself for first-person shooters, is a big win, especially considering that it is console's biggest title when it comes to first-person shooters. It is now exclusively owned by Xbox, the mother company. They're definitely going to make bank on this, and especially with the revenue. Like, if they actually support the model for Call of Duty, there is no way that they're not going to make their investment back. And finally, ending it on the mobile thing, I'm not personally big on mobile, so it doesn't really affect me or even surprise me, but apparently Candy Crush was big, and I'm pretty sure it still is. That was one of the big games. That was one of the big games that was making a lot of money for no reason. People are playing that game. How? I don't know. But let's be honest with each other. I'm shaded by mobile games at the minute. In fact, I'm planning on quitting one of my mobile games because I'm dedicating too much energy to it. So, that is the end of that little pro right there. They basically got 3 of the biggest games for each respective market. And I say one of the biggest, rather, instead of just the biggest, because it's not the biggest. There's plenty of other games. Who are we kidding? But that's pretty much all that I can think of off the top of my head. But as far as the life of the games, there's kind of a confusion. And here's the thing that does affect me with this deal. When it comes to the Xbox portion of things, Xbox, I want to believe that they're actually doing things right for the gamers, and I do believe that they are, because they're putting a lot of indie games and indie developer games, and they're helping their community. They're engaging. Xbox is a great gaming environment for people who want to just play casually or professionally. It doesn't matter. But when it comes to Overwatch in particular, this one's weird because Overwatch always focused on their PC players above the console community. Anytime the PC players got something, the console community would either have to wait or it would have to be dumbed down for them because, oh, it's on a console. It's not their primary bread and butter. I don't care. You should be supporting your game regardless of what platform you're putting it on, especially if you claim to care about your audience. There are people who are going to be on different platforms, and you're a developer. You should be thinking like, okay, if I'm making this for the audience, then I can't be biased. Like, yes, there could be specific goals, like it might only work on PC, so let's do it for PC. But no, this game was intended for consoles and PC. So if you're going to put it on that market, you better support it properly. So they haven't done that for a while, and now the console's picking up within the recent year or two of the game's existence, where they're being more transparent, they're putting out more updates, they're doing things with the experimental patches in the card, when they didn't actually do that before. It was all PTR and PC. So if you didn't have PC, you were SOL. So they've been doing better with the console community, and now that Xbox is the mother company for Overwatch in particular, this will hopefully give them incentive to support the console variants just a little bit further and actually put more effort into helping the console peasants, because we are, in an equivalent of an economy, the second-class citizens as compared to the PC community, which is basically their first-class citizens. Hopefully that means... The baby's getting bored. I'm going to have to call it anyway. It's nearing 20 minutes. So that's the end of my argument and the end of my rant. I want to know your thoughts down below if this actually does end up getting some traction. So leave your comments down below. Mention some of the stuff that you've heard about it. I'd love to have some conversations. And be sure to catch me on Glimish, because that's where I'm streaming now. My link is down below. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Peace.